Hi everyone, and this is Chris, and it is a lovely, cold, snowy day here in the Pacific Northwest. As you can see, this is my front yard. It is the perfect day to be inside making cookies. So today we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies. This is a recipe that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. I really like my chocolate chip cookies to be a very specific way, and I've always made them with vanilla pudding. But vanilla pudding, or at least most of the vanilla puddings that we have in our stores locally, have a lot of artificial ingredients. And those types of things I'm actually supposed to be staying away from and consuming as few as possible. So that prompted me to try to figure out how to make chocolate chip cookies, which are one of my favorite cookies, that still tasted like it had vanilla pudding in it, but doesn't actually have any vanilla pudding mix in it. I feel like I'm pretty darn close to being there, so hopefully this is the batch that does it. I'm starting these cookies with 1 cup of packed brown sugar, and I'm putting them in my stand mixer here. And don't worry, I have clean hands. Before I go any further, because this is the first thing we should do, and I had it on my mind before I turned the camera on, and then as soon as I turned the camera on, I completely forgot. But we're gonna preheat the oven. I'm gonna preheat it for 350 degrees. Okay. We have our brown sugar, 1 cup brown sugar. I'm gonna put 1 cup of softened butter. I had half a cup of a stick of butter ready to go, and then the other half a cup, this is homemade butter. So I measured it out. A half a cup of butter is 2 ounces of butter. Add that in. I'm gonna beat the sugar and the butter together just a little bit to get them kind of mixed in and a little bit creamy. To the sugar and butter mixture, I'm going to add 2 eggs. I'm going to add 2½ teaspoons of vanilla. That may seem like a lot of vanilla, but because this recipe would have had vanilla pudding added to it ordinarily, and vanilla pudding has vanilla powder in it, I don't have vanilla powder, so I'm increasing the amount of vanilla extract that I put in there to give it that nice vanilla-y flavor that the pudding would have given it. Another ingredient I'm going to add to it is cornstarch. 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch is another one of those ingredients that we're missing because I'm not using an actual instant vanilla pudding mix in this. When you get those vanilla pudding mixes, a good portion of that mix is vanilla powder and cornstarch. If you look up any recipe on how to make your own vanilla pudding, cornstarch is one of the main dry ingredients that go into it. So we are going to add that to our cookie mix to replace the cornstarch that would have gone into it if we had used the instant vanilla pudding. I'm just going to mix these up real fast. To this mix, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Salt is incredibly important anytime you make anything sweet. It really balances out the sweet in the recipe and makes the flavor so much better. Do not skip the salt when you make any kind of baked goods. To this, I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon baking soda and 2 1/4 cups of flour. Mix. I know you're not supposed to eat raw eggs, but I always taste my cookie better even with raw eggs. I've never had a problem. Tastes good. The cornstarch in it will give it this tiny bit of tang that goes right along with the sweet. And I think that it works perfectly together. Now for the best part, the chocolate chips. I'm gonna add 1/2 bag, which is about 5 ounces. Mix it in here just slightly. You don't want to mix this too much, otherwise the flour that's in here will really start to develop gluten. A lot of recipes will have you fold in the chocolate chips, and that's why. I don't have a problem if I just run this for, 5 seconds or so, mix the chocolate chips in and then stop it. Who knows, maybe that's me being lazy, but I just don't feel like it's necessary to get out another utensil and fold them in. I've lined a baking sheet here with parchment paper. This helps my cleanup be so much easier. I'm gonna drop cookie dough by the spoonful. This is about a tablespoon. Those give me the size of cookies that I like. If you like your cookies bigger or smaller, feel free to make them whatever size that you want. Just know that the baking time will be slightly different if you have different size cookies. I'm gonna pop these in the oven. I set the timer for 12 minutes. It will probably take a little bit longer. Usually it's about 14 to 15 minutes for the cookies to be done, but I like to set it a little bit earlier every time I make something, because if I've accidentally made the cookies a little smaller, then it will take a little bit less time to cook. And I just want to make sure that I catch them before they start to overcook or burn. While I have these cookies in the oven, I'm gonna get my next batch onto my cookie sheet ready to go. First set of cookies are ready to come out of the oven. Take a look at them. This is what they look like. I did have to cook them for 2 extra minutes. I was thinking it would probably be around 14 minutes. So I'm gonna set these, pop them in there for 14 minutes. I'm gonna let them cool down just a little bit before I take them off the cookie sheet. And right now, even though they've come out of the oven, they will still cook a little bit more as they start to cool. So if I were to open one of these now, it would probably be a little bit doughy in the middle. The other batch of cookies are still in the oven, but I decided that these have cooled enough that we can take a look and see what they look like. They do have a little bit of cakey quality to them. If that's not your thing, then this might not be quite the right recipe for you. But I love that, because to have that cakey kind of texture makes the cookies softer and it gives them a really good rise. Like you see, this is not a thin cookie, and I like that with chocolate chip cookies. I don't want them to be really thin. I don't want them to be crispy. I want them to be soft. Just like this. I think they're delicious. The only thing I can say, I think I could actually use even more vanilla in it. Or maybe my vanilla is just a little weak. I don't know. But I think I could add even a little bit more vanilla to make these a little bit more vanilla-y chocolate chip cookies. I highly recommend giving them a try. They're really quite good. And they're pretty much exactly the way I like a chocolate chip cookie. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. If you want to be notified when I upload my next video, click the bell next to the subscribe button and you'll get a notification when my next video is uploaded. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy baking!